I'm going to teach you how to quickly create a chess piece inside of Maya. Top left corner, I'm in modeling. I'm going to use curves. Now, if you're new to Maya, you probably have done a whole lot with poly modeling, extruding, things like that, but we're going to use a curve. And this is called the EP curve tool. Now, once I click this, I have to draw on the grid. So I'm just left clicking and it's putting these points. You'll notice it's smoothing everything out. When I hit enter, I have this curve that is stuck to the grid. So I can't like draw out into nothingness. Can't draw out in space. I'm going to show you another functionality with it. I have my curve. When I press enter, I'm going to hold right click. And if I go to control vertex, if I mess something up, say, ooh, this turn right here is a little too sharp. I'm going to grab this point and I have control and I can adjust after the fact. So we will use that later. The first thing that I'm going to do is drop in an image plane. Now you don't have to, a chess piece is pretty darn simple. I'm going to tap spacebar. This will get us into our 4 views. If that did not work, press this button over here on the left. And I'm going to use the front or the side and I'm going to go to view all the way down to image plane, import image. I just went out to Google and downloaded chess pieces. You need a nice side view. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? There's always going to be some perspective when a photograph is taken. Then in my attribute editor, with the image plane selected, I like to go to my alpha gain and pull this slider down. All the way, you can't see it. Now, this stage is not required. I'm going to show you what I typically do. I like to line up this center line, this darker line on my grid, and kind of cut that pawn in half, something like that. So I'm gonna hop back to my channel box, give myself a little more space. And now I can use my EP curve tool and I just need a profile of this shape. So I'm not gonna do the whole shape. You're gonna get some funky results if you do that. I'm just gonna do half of this. Don't do this. Don't do like a whole bunch of tiny little things. You'll get these wobbles and stuff. It's not gonna be great. So less is more. So for this circle, all right, I'll use like 4 or 5 and it's gonna smooth things out. And things look good. For really tight angles, what I can do is come in here and put like 3 pretty darn close to each other and then start heading back in this direction. So same kind of thing here. Now the super sharp things, we'll fix that eventually, especially on the bottom. And I'll just speed this up, make this a little bit more quick. So this is not flat on the bottom, but we're going to fix it. Press enter when you're all done. I have half of this. We don't need our image plane anymore. So what I can do is select it, press H to hide it. Hold right click, go to control vertex, and we're going to flatten this bottom part out first. Left click and drag, highlight all of those, press R to scale. And I am just going to scale into itself, scaling down, and that has flattened this. So that looks pretty nice. All right, now that I have that, let's go to object mode, select our curve. I'm going to go to make sure you're in modeling, surfaces, hit the option box for revolve. Things that we want. We want output geometry, polygons. Scroll down under type instead of triangles. We want quads, tessellation method. I like general. And then in the U type drop down, pick the last option. And then the V type drop down, pick the last option. When I hit revolve, this gives us quads. It looks really, really nice. There's no n-gons. Things look good. That's awesome. With this pawn, I'm going to go up to mesh display and reverse. So in this example, it turned it inside out. So one more thing that I forgot to mention would be if this wasn't lined up in the center, you will get these holes at the top and bottom of your chess piece. So an easy fix for that. We're going to hold right click, go to vertex mode. We can just grab those top vertices, edit mesh, down to merge. We have merged those together and same thing on the bottom. Now, if you did not get this result, this might be what's happening. In the beginning, I lined up this curve in that center line, but if you were to draw your curve not on the center line, your pivot point is actually going to be something like this. And when you revolve, surfaces revolve, you're going to get something that looks like that. Okay, that's not correct. So to fix that, if you drew way over here to the side, what you can do is hold D as in delta, just go ahead and move that pivot point roughly to like that center line. Something like that. That's close enough. Surfaces revolve, and that will give us these results. You'll see this is triangles because it didn't save. The other problem you might have is you might have the wrong axis. So if you drew in a different view, like the top view, you might get results like this. So we can just undo, surfaces, revolve, pick the correct axis that you need.